Hey, Olive, Arlo, and Frank. It's Grandpa coming to you, not from the Vatican, but letting you see my van shirt. It's one of a few van shirts that I have. I don't usually make a big deal of the shirts that I have, and I have all kinds of cool shirts. But today I started with that because I'm doing a video called Adios Vatican Life. The Vatican is over at what's it called? Travel Camp RV on Beach Boulevard, Jacksonville, off the South Side. It's the people who sold our RV for us. Did very well with that. We got a fair price for it. We wound up not losing any money. I mean, we didn't make money on it, but you never make money on things like that. So today I want to talk about the two Vaticans that I've owned. The first one in 2020 when we sold the RV, I said to grandmother, I want to get a Class B. I didn't like driving the giant Class C RV, and I said I want to get a Class B. Class Bs are smaller, and the Vatican is a Class B. So I found one in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Did a really stupid thing. I bought it. What could I tell you? I did a virtual drive, test drive in it with the guy named Carl. So when I went out to buy it, I was going to meet the guy at the Jackson Hole Regional Airport. So I drove out there, I rented a car, stopped and saw you, Arlo. You were a little guy. Hung out with you for a day, and then I headed out west. Beautiful scenery, beautiful drive. And then I bought it, and I said, okay, well, I want to head south because I was in Wyoming. It was November of 2020, maybe? Yeah, I think 2020. I want to head south. There was snow coming, and I needed to get below the snow line. It's not easy to drive these kind of cars. They don't have power steering. It's a manual transmission. So I wanted to beat the snow. So I drove south because that's what people from the East Coast do. I'm going to drive south because that'll get me into warmer temperature. Well, no, that took me into Utah and places like that. It took me into the mountains. I probably should have just gone back the way that I came and then headed south. As soon as I got to the plain states, then I could have headed south. But I wound up going through really beautiful areas. There were these rural routes in Wyoming and into Utah that were just, they were beautiful. They were beautiful. So I stayed at a Walmart in Utah the first night. Just got up next morning and boom, started going again. The next day I stayed outside of Las Vegas, Nevada at a winery out in the desert. What a cool place. The Vatican broke down. So I was there for a few days. I had to get grandmother to get me a hotel room. The hotel room was very cheap because they had a casino there, but it was like a ghetto casino in this little, I forget the name of the town. So I was stuck there while the Vatican got fixed, and it cost $500. And then I got in it, and I zipped down to Arizona. Spent a night on a mountain in Arizona at a horse farm. It was a harvest host. Just a great time. Met this guy named Joe. We're still friends on Facebook. He had a dog with him who recently died. and they were staying there. The owner was this really cool woman who was totally into horses, and we all had dinner together, watched this amazing sunset at the top of this mountain. Then the next day, I got on the road again. I made it to Interstate 10. Now, Interstate 10 is going to bring me all the way to Jacksonville, Florida. But that didn't happen. I got to Tucson, and it just died. Part of the engine melted. I had to have it towed just to get it off the highway. I was on the interstate on the phone trying to get AAA, trying to get grandmother to hook me up with a stay. I stayed at a Red Roof Inn, and fortunately I broke down right across the highway from this billboard for the hey, next exit, Red Roof Inn. I said, just get me in there. And then when the AAA guy came, I asked him to take it there and park it. It cost me $1,800 to have the van towed back home. And then they said it would be weeks. I had to put a brand new engine in it. It would be weeks. Turned out to be, I think, a couple months before the engine came in. And they could get the engine in and get it working. So during this time, I said to grandmother, I need to find out how to do things on this. I did this stupid thing. I bought this van. I don't know anything about these things. It's an air-cooled engine. So I had found this vintage car show up in Callahan, Florida, above Jacksonville on Route 1. I said, let's go up there. It was a Saturday or a Sunday. I said, let's go up there and see if there's Volkswagens, and I'll go see if there's maybe a club or something that I can join. People that'll help me with the Volkswagen. And we got to the place, and grandmother said if she wasn't going to get out of the car. It was all muddy. It was a mess, and too many white people there. So she, and remember, what happens here stays here. Don't tell grandmother I said that. So, but it was kind of like a rural, like, car show. But she said, there's a van over there. And I thought, yeah, right. It's my van. Probably is. It's a Volkswagen van. And I turned around and looked, and it was my van. So I made a beeline over to that van. And I said, hey, I own this van. I have this exact same van. Well, it turned out that was an 81 and mine was an 82. But other than that, they were a lot alike, although that his was a lot nicer than mine. And the guy that owned it is a guy named Todd Roth, good friend. So I got to know him. He said, well, you're going to be my best friend now because I'll help you, or I'm going to be your best friend, I guess is the way to put it. I'm going to help you with keeping this thing running on the road and everything. He helped me with a lot of stuff. So I wound up going on a bunch of adventures, diving adventures and hiking adventures, and I drove up the Signal Mountain, which is a lot of fun going up the mountain in a Vanagon, trying to shift gears. I went to Courtney's wedding in it. And then one time I was heading down to Miami. I forget what time of the year it was, but it was warm, which means it wasn't January. It was any of the other months. And it started smoking. I was 200 and some miles away from home. It cost me $1,000 to have it towed back, even with the free 200 miles that the AAA gave me. It still cost like 900 and some dollars to tow it back. And I had it fixed, and then I sold it. I took it up to a place called AP Vintage Motors in Statesville, North Carolina. and I sold it. Well, around this time, Todd started thinking about selling his. Now, mine I called Endless Summer. His, he calls Uncle Rico. And he started talking about selling Uncle Rico. So grandmother and I were getting ready to go on this really long adventure. We were going to be gone, turned out for 111 days to Europe and Africa. And I decided to buy Uncle Rico. Gave Todd half the money before I left, half the money when we got back. So I had some problems. Uncle Rico's a great automobile, but I had some problems with it. There was something that there was a wire loose, and it made the car surge. And it turned out what it was doing is it would turn off, and then because it was in gear, it would ignite itself. It would like push start itself. I took grandmother up to Signal Mountain and then down to New Orleans. I was constantly putting oil in it, and I realized that I was afraid to drive it. I had some other adventures in it too. Also a lot of local adventures. But I went camping with my buddy Larry. I went camping a couple other times. I would just go out and stay boondock for a night someplace. And but it just became time to sell it. So, as I said, I have it at travel camp. But as far as I'm concerned, it's gone. It's gone. I love it, but it's gone. It's not a human being, so I'm not going to miss it. I don't miss the first one, and I'm going to get something else. Now, I don't know exactly what that is going to be. It could be a city van, little work van, no seats in the back or anything like that, and just throw a cot in it, throw a sleeping bag and a cot in it when grandmother goes someplace with me. And I have some adventures coming up, so I'm going to replace it fairly quickly as soon as it sells. An Astrovan. Astrovan's right around the same size, and it would be cool. It would fit in the driveway and everything. I could get a pickup truck with a topper. I could even get a truck camper, which I doubt if I would do that. That would be tough to get into the driveway next to our car. Could be a minivan or SUV. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos about that. Or maybe even a Volkswagen Eurovan. The ones that I like are the ones that don't have all the things in them, like the sink and all, because I really never used any of that stuff. I didn't use the fridge, I didn't use the sink, I didn't use the stove. It's just not what I do. So there's a Eurovan I think it's called a Weekender. It doesn't have all that stuff in it. Then there's the camper, which does. And if I got a nice camper, then I would get that because there was nothing wrong with all that stuff. I didn't use it. And I want something that I can, if it breaks down, I can just take it to a local shop and get it worked on. Air-cooled Volkswagens are hard to find people to work on. So I'm saying goodbye to Endless Summer. I'm saying goodbye to Uncle Rico, and I'm saying goodbye to hashtag Vatican Life. And hello to whatever comes next. Peace out.